All right, so here we go. Yes, we've got a crazy amount of Starfield updates to go over today. So grab that popcorn, sit back, and relax, because this is going to be a big video. Also, take a look at this one right here. It goes on to say, I was casually talking to an NPC when this happened right here. Absolutely ridiculous. Let me know, what is the weirdest thing that has happened to you when it comes to an NPC specifically? But yeah, in this video, a player somehow also purchased, get this, an entire space station and also somehow landed it on a planet. I kid you not, we're going to take a look at that. And Bethesda revealed that Starfield is its biggest Bethesda launch game of all time, but there's a catch here. We'll dive into that. And a Cyberpunk 2077 dev calls out a Starfield versus Cyberpunk comparison video. Now, things get very interesting very quickly here. We'll talk about that. Also, you can keep your eyebrows and get those back. Don't worry, I'll explain in just a moment. And yes, we've got legit feedback about gun mods and key features that would otherwise improve the game. And finally, this was figured out after countless hours of play. You're going to want to know this one, so stay tuned to the end of the video. But yeah, we're going to start out with this one right here. And remember, if you're new, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification icon so you never miss a future video. All right, so let's take a look at this headline right here. Starfield player steals an entire pirate space station, then lands it on a planet. They let me buy their base. What in the world is going on here? It's definitely trending on the subreddit. Check it out right here. It says this: somehow managed to purchase the key, was able to move parts around in the shipbuilder, not really flyable, but managed to land it on a planet. This one comes from Vegan Satan 666420. And let me full screen this for you all so we can take a closer look as to what is going on here. As you could see, you could clearly see that the space station is in the shipbuilder, it looks like. And then also, yes, he has somehow apparently landed it on a planet. But yeah, he doesn't make mention of anything like using command prompts or anything like that, or any type of cheat system to actually make this happen. We do have some replies here. Let's get into those. We have Delirious Dell, who says, do not sell it. I sold the den thinking that would somehow fix the bug, and the den is now gone. It says all the poor souls aboard the den. How very sad. So yeah, let me know if you guys are able to figure out how in the world this is possible. But it does beg the question right here. We all want it. They know we want it. Is there any possibility we're going to get the ability to build space stations? Seems like that maybe, just maybe, that could be possible. It says 20 plus crew, random encounters where spacers or the Crimson Fleet attacks without a Preston Garvey type notification. The ability to make it a hub for your cargo links, docking your ships, building new ships, a trade authority outpost. The possibilities are numerous to say the least. Would you like to be able to build your own space station? What would you want them to be? Also, I play on console, so however great the modding community might be, I'm probably not going to get access to any of the great mods. I want Bethesda to bring space stations to Starfield. Help us, Todd. You're the console community's only hope. Hold up now, because in my most recent video, I did highlight an article which did state that yes, they plan to bring mods and mod support to Xbox in about a year or so. So it seems like that's actually going to be possible. Now, when it comes to space stations, I see this being a reasonable request. We've seen housing mod expansions and that sort of thing for previous Bethesda titles. This is kind of the same difference, but in a different way, of course. So yeah, I would expect perhaps that maybe, just maybe, we could see like official support for space stations down the road, perhaps through DLC or an expansion. But the more you guys request it, the more Bethesda is likely to pay attention to that sort of thing. Now, we got to talk about this one right here. Yes, check it out. Official announcement from Starfield Twitter. It says, as of this morning, Starfield has already surpassed 6 million players, making it the biggest Bethesda game launch of all time. That right there is an impressive number, and we have people celebrating throughout the community. Check it out. It says, having a blast for sure. Hits all the things I like about a Bethesda game, studio game so far. Hooked. And legit, one of the best games ever made. It is a masterpiece. Let me know if you agree with that sentiment or not, or if you think it's kind of like meh. To each their own. I myself, I'm loving it. But we have this article right here, which attaches itself to this announcement. So yeah, check this out right here. It says Xbox celebrates Starfield as Bethesda's biggest launch ever with some asterisks. And that had me curious. I'm like, I gotta read this article for sure. So let's take a look. It says this, it's a little odd given that Fallout 4 shipped 12 million copies on launch day, but I suppose that's shipped, not sold. It's also reasonable to believe maybe only less than half of those who bought it were able to start playing right away due to one thing or another. But this is 6 million players from early access on September 1st until now, which they say is a record. That's a lot of players. It's also something that has to come with asterisks, given that Xbox has really no meaningful way to report numbers that have any context to them at all, given their new reliance on Game Pass. Let's get into this further, shall we? It's definitely interesting. It goes on to say this. Last we heard in January of 2022, there were 25 million Game Pass subscribers. That's a lot. A figure which had dramatically increased during the pandemic, albeit no new totals have been reported since. But with these 6 million players, there's simply no way to know how many of them are, and it goes on to say this right here, players who already had Game Pass, players who just signed up for Game Pass for this, players who bought the game outright on Xbox, players who bought the game on Steam, and players who paid above and beyond for the special edition for DLC and early access for $30 more. But to think that Starfield, it's wild to me that it is part of Game Pass, such a high quality game. I think that will definitely sell Game Pass for sure, and then also Xbox consoles as well. Now, check it out. It goes on to say Microsoft has been adamant that in this new era of day one Game Pass launches, they care less about sales and more about engagement, as in what will get players to stick around and keep their Game Pass subscriptions. While Starfield is not a live service, it is a game where you can sink anywhere from 50 to 500 hours into it, implying it could help with Game Pass retention. Well, of course, I mean, this is going to be pretty much what I would call one of those endless games where you can return to it over and over again. And you got to remember, there's going to be long-term support for Starfield. Yes, it seems like modding is going to be coming to Xbox, which will be something that will boost this game's appeal and the Game Pass appeal in itself even more. So that is going to be huge. Furthermore, we have this, but the point stands, 6 million players is not 6 million sales. And I wanted to stop there just for a moment before I read on, because I'm curious if Microsoft is talking about active players. Because you got to remember, we are not in the weekend. People are also still working and very busy. I cannot wait again to see what happens this weekend. But yeah, let's keep going. It says this, it's likely not even close to that with Game Pass. It is the case, however, that a new Game Pass sub is probably going to be worth more than a sell, as if it lasts a year or even a few months, it's going to cost more than the $70 game would. But without Microsoft reporting how many new Game Pass signups there were because of Starfield, we just won't know, and Microsoft has not reported any Game Pass totals in close to 2 years now. It's mainly only reporting Xbox division revenue and not console sales either, as they haven't for years. That's been good, but we have zero idea how it actually breaks down. Furthermore, it says Starfield will encourage Game Pass signups and will sell some Xboxes, but we'll likely never know how many, nor will we know exact sales totals. Not that those would sound terribly impressive with a large percentage of players being through Game Pass. It's just way too messy with Microsoft to try and parse anything from Xbox anymore. Starfield is a hit. It is probably not a quantifiable hit with any number that truly means anything, including this record Bethesda launch, but that's just the way Xbox works now. Most of the rest of the industry is still reporting actual numbers like copies shipped or sold or revenue bought in over a certain period, but it just doesn't work that way with Xbox anymore, and we're sort of just have to take them at their word in some form or another. Yes, this is a very big launch for them, clearly. And you could also see that on the Steam concurrent numbers that this is a huge hit. There is no doubt about it. And I am certain that Microsoft is very, very happy about this one. But, you know, I'm also curious to see what happens again with Elder Scrolls 6. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 devs had some choice words recently. It says Cyberpunk devs call out unfair Starfield comparison video. And let's scroll on down here and see what this article says. It says this right here. Cyberpunk senior quest designer Patrick K. Mills has responded to a viral video which compares Starfield to Cyberpunk 2077. The video in question shows examples of how Starfield lacks the detail and realism shown in Cyberpunk, an area that Patrick finds both unfair and rather hypocritical. And if we take a look at the tweet from Patrick K. Mills, it says, "How times have changed. This fake criticism is actively harmful to the way the audience interacts with the medium, and I hate it. But it's very funny to see after how many hundreds of these were made to ridicule Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, I remember that. So yeah, this is of course a graphical comparison video. I'll source that in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself in full. Maybe you've run into it. I don't know. But yeah, it always seems to be the case when a new game comes out, they have a habit of comparing each game to one another, which I guess is reasonable to an extent, of course. But yeah, we also have some other Cyberpunk devs chiming into this. Check it out right here. We have Miles Tossed. And to be fair, most of those items in the comparison have been added, improved by us post-launch. So I love the fact that they're actually like backing Starfield up in a way, I suppose you would say. I think that's cool to see when other devs come out to fight for each other. I think it's awesome. Now, next up, we also have this one right here. Martin, who says, I think the weirdest comparison I saw in the deluge of Cyberpunk criticism was the one comparing Cyberpunk's first-person animation to the animations in Red Dead Redemption 2. I still don't get what they were trying to say. Patrick replies saying they likely weren't saying anything. And then we have this. I think the point being made is a little lost, though. Cyberpunk never really went out to offer unparalleled exploration of a galaxy. It had problems though, certainly. Starfield not having any attempt at swimming, submersion while exploring planets is extremely questionable. And Patrick says this, is that the point? There's no commentary, just a handful of features being compared. What's the meaning of this comparison? How does this relate to how I should feel about or experience these games? Useless criticism. Do you guys agree with that or not? Do you think the criticism in the comparison video is legit? Do you see that it's okay to compare these games when they actually release? I myself, I view Starfield its own style of game. I view Cyberpunk very much its own style of game. And the same thing with Baldur's Gate 3 and so on and so forth. And guess what? I enjoy all of them. That's just how I roll. But also, yeah, you can get your eyebrows back. Check it out. It says new Intel driver gives Starfield its eyebrows back. Driver bug that batted eyebrows clean off characters' faces has been fixed, but larger issues with Starfield on ARC graphics cards remain. So yeah, I don't know if any of you are on the ARC graphics card or not, but I feel for you because it's had the most issues for sure. Now let's head on over to Reddit because we have this one. Despite the massive deal made of planetary borders, guess what? I have not seen one yet. It goes on to say, honestly feel like if I hadn't have seen them before release, I would have never known about them. I have done a decent amount of exploration and I thoroughly enjoy fully surveying planets. Once again, you know, before the game released, there was that controversy that, oh my God, planets have borders. You can't walk the full planet. And I knew that was garbage criticism, that wouldn't matter when the game came out. I was like, just wait to play the game for yourself. And, you know, I also mentioned to you guys before the game release, you're going to see tons and tons of videos where people seek out and find all the problems with the game and try to amplify those problems. Again, I'm going to back up on that a little bit and take a step back and say, yes, there is legit criticism with some of this stuff, don't get me wrong, but if you're going to go seeking problems, you're going to find them in any game, trust me. And next up, we have this one opinion. It's atrocious that you can't swap gun mods. And this one comes from Voronov1, who says this. So in Fallout 4, if you have two of the same gun, like two hunting rifles, you can swap mods between them, which makes sense. You're taking a long barrel off of one and putting it onto the other, given that you're already treating these pieces as interchangeable parts because you can make them and apply them to weapons, makes total sense. In Starfield, a game made nearly a decade later by the same company in the same engine, you cannot do this. Removing a reflex sight from one maelstrom destroys it. You can't place it on another maelstrom. That does not make any sense. Says why? In a game as dedicated to crafting, resources, and weapon and armor and spaceship customization as Starfield, why on earth Did they make this change? Let me swap mods around without burning through an ungodly amount of resources. Let me feel excited every time I find a gun with mods on it, rather than, oh, I already have a gun with a special effect without the mod, so I can't even use this without being weaker. Can't even cannibalize it for parts. Guess it's vendor trash. Seriously, what was the logic behind the design decision here? Is there a mod that fixes this yet? If so, can it be applied to save games? I'm like 16 hours in, so it looks like he's seeking out a mod for this. I'm not aware of any, but you know what? I will definitely let you know if a mod does release. I hope to really get into more mod videos, by the way. And we have some reply. It says, we all know the real crime is we can't mod melee weapons or our fists. Yes. And I feel like melee is kind of underwhelming in this game. Perhaps that's intentional. They didn't want you to rely on it so heavily, but I think it would be a cool way to play the game if that's the way you wanted to play it. So I think that needs an update as well. But yeah, speaking about updates, we have this one right here. It says a quality of life feature we need so badly. And yeah, he highlights the fact that you should be able to eat the item immediately instead of pick it up, place it into your inventory, and then go to your menu, then have to like select eat it. Yes, 100% agree with this. I thought this through and through when playing the game. Like, why can't I just like consume the item right now? I need to. So I hope they tap into that and update the game with that feature. And then check this out. I'm at level 34 and I just realized this about the star map while trying to visit every star. Let's scroll on down here. It says star glowing with a halo. You have been there. However, if you notice that a star has no glow or halo, you have not been there, but you can jump there within range of previously visited star system. Now, if a star is red with no glow, you cannot jump there until you jump to another nearby star first. Of course, one of the white stars that you can actually access, and that depends on whatever grav drive you're using. You can upgrade your grav drives and then be able to, you know, jump even further, of course, and upgrade certain perks as well. But some people actually did not know this, so hopefully this does help you out in the future when you are actually using your map and have an understanding of what's going on there. Next up, we have this one right here. It says, for people who love the game, what criticisms do you have? And I'm throwing that to you all. Please post a comment down below. You never know if a Bethesda developer is going to take a look at what you guys have to say. Now it says, first off, I love the game. It delivered what I wanted, and I expect to be playing it for years. That said, I can criticize every game, even my favorite ones. Here are mine in order of the biggest to smallest. So it says, why are there little to no enemies on planets? Occasionally, there will be a pack of monsters, but for the most part, there's no combat. I was expecting seamlessly transitions when inside of a city or on a planet. If I walk into a store in a city or a cave on a planet, it feels like it should be seamless. Loading times aren't long, but a lot of games today have that ability. Again, I was hoping the same thing, of course. Now it says the menus are obviously bad. The city maps need to be detailed. Unnamed NPCs are awkward. And I'm hoping that mods or future updates will correct some of these problems, especially the first one. Yeah, it would be cool if a mod can also address that issue with the seamless nature when you are finally on a planet. It would be cool to be able to go into a shop seamlessly, just like go in, open the door, or what have you. There are many games that have this. I think of even like Red Dead Redemption 2, where you can just walk into the shop. Then again, you know, we are talking about multiple planets here, and if it does affect that initial load time when heading into a planet, and it takes like 10 seconds as opposed to like the 1.5 seconds it currently does, then I would prefer the current system. It all depends on the engine. The creation engine is a different beast in its own right. But check this out right here. This is just beautiful. I explored our solar system for 4 hours last night. Couldn't believe the beauty of Venus. What a shot right there. That is stunning. Yeah, send in your gameplay clips. Send in your, you know, character creations, special findings, spaceship builds, base building builds by following that link in the description below. If you have anything cool that you want to highlight and show off, I will definitely credit you all. This is hilarious right here. It says absolutely hit the jackpot on expert level right here. He finally does it, opens it up, and it's completely empty. What a bummer. This one comes from Lord Crumpets 1, as you can see right here. What a troll. That is such a troll. by Bethesda. Now, also, we have this one right here. Starfield, never change, please. I love the humor. And of course, we have the colonist who says, I used to be an explorer too, but then never mind. It's a long story. I love the nostalgic references to previous Bethesda titles right there, highlighting Skyrim. And of course, we have accidental find, no markers on the map, no clues. I love this game. Look at that crater. That's an extinction level event right there, let me tell you. And also some really cool character creations, actually funny. This one's hilarious. Captain Ron Ulysses Swanson of the Starship Liberty. Parks and Recreation reference right there. He's getting things done in the galaxy. And a question for you all. Does your ship look like this right here? Look at the clutter. We have a hoarder right here on the next episode of Hoarding. We're going to have to help this guy out, clean up his ship for sure. All right, so now it's time to get into your top comments from my most recent video. So check it out by following that link in the description below or on the channel. It's most likely just going to be on the channel. I might forget to throw it in the description. But anyway, my most recent video was this one right here. A very bizarre news update. Todd Howard's big response, 1 year until this big feature. Let's scroll down and see what you guys had to say, shall we? So it says, the only side effect from developers playing each other's games is a larger well from which they might derive inspiration. Loyalty should be reserved for the art itself, not a brand. Well said right there. And you know, you can take inspiration from one another. And it's also a way to, you know, communicate and understand game design and just enjoy gaming. And if you missed the video, I'm talking about the fact that, you know, there's PlayStation designers, PlayStation developers that are playing Starfield and getting some hate for, you know, not being loyal to PlayStation. How dare you play Starfield, which is considered by some to be like an Xbox exclusive. But yeah, I mean, they should just be able to enjoy whatever. And then we have this one. It says, Todd's an absolute master when it comes to evading questions. Holy hell. Yeah, that's a reference to the fact that, like, Bethesda was kind of called out recently for their PC performance and optimization of Starfield. And his answer was kind of like, well, you know, you might need to upgrade your PC, which some people were like, oh, how dare you? But I guess it's true. I mean, this is a brand new Bethesda game. You know, I was thankfully prepared for this one, but I'm not even running on the latest graphics card. I'm actually running on a 3080 Ti, and the game runs very well. It runs even better, of course, with mods. So yeah, the modding community has been the one thing that has been the difference here for sure. Bethesda, what would you do without your modding community? Also, we have this one. Quick resume has been a blessing with Starfield. Skipping the initial load is and beyond amazing. Yeah, you know, that's Xbox Series X. That quick resume function is so cool, and it's great to hear that's working very well for a lot of you. A lot of times I have a habit of not using it on Xbox Series X because initially it was causing some issues with games, but now they've seemed to really iron out some of those issues, and it's working wonderfully. Also, we have this right here. It says, not weird, but interesting. I warped into a system and a pirate held my ship only to realize it was the Mantis ship. Guess what happened? It seemed the original Mantis was extremely feared. The pirates begged me not to kill them and even gave me their money and asked if they can go now. Love this game. Damn, that is so awesome, dude. Yeah, the game has so many amazing experiences like that. It's just, even the random encounters really are amazing. All right, so there it is. Thank you all so much for watching. That's the latest happening with Starfield. I also hope to do coverage of maybe Cyberpunk 2077, the Phantom Liberty, when that comes out. I can't wait for that one. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.